Hope was the engine that kept me going. Hope is really, you know, it goes hand in hand with my belief system. That's part of my hope. That's my hope. That's my belief system. Is my hope system also. I came here from New Orleans, Louisiana, and that's where my home is. That's where I grew up at. I went into a treatment facility. I went into American Hospital in Pomona for treatment of drug addiction. And when I came out, I'd done 6 months in there in residential treatment. I turned my life over. The real difficulty started to happen. My significant other started to tell me it looked like I was chasing my tail all the time. So I guess that was a flag toward my anxiety was starting to increase. I lost my brother unexpectedly, and that really sent me into a panic mode. And I made a few trips to emergency rooms with panic attacks, and I had no idea what was going on. The doctor told me that he thought I was having some anxiety, and all I really needed to do was take off for about a year, and that really triggered me. I think that really started me on when he said take off a year, I was like, man, I'm not working now, it's already tough. And I was starting to worry, and my moods were starting to change on an everyday basis. Just in one of my panic attacks, I was buying ice cream in an ice cream store. And I had a panic attack. And I was driven to the hospital. And when I came out, I decided that I was going to try to seek some type of assistance. But before I could do that, I was driving my vehicle, and I started to have a panic attack, and I parked, and I went to a phone, and I called a community resource, which is BHS, Behavioral Health Services, that's in the community of Gardena. And the guy told me on the phone, he said, you're right across the street from a place that could help you. And I looked across the street. I was on Van Ness and El Segundo in Hawthorne, and it was a South Bay Mental Health Center. And that sign seemed to jump off the building to me. You know, it petrified me. But I was able to walk in and ask for some help, and that's where this journey that I'm on right now started. I came in, and I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and major depression.
Gary's transformation went from head down and very quiet and very like I say, in despair. He was in despair. He was in turmoil about his situation and what was going on in his life.
People at South Bay, from the day I came in, to the person that was at the reception desk, to the intake people, to my case manager, they were all very caring. They gave me every suggestion, and I accepted the help that they had for me because I didn't know it could be treated, because I had never known anyone that I knew who had a mental illness and had recovered fully. That was the biggest fear that I had. That was a fear that I had something that was terminal, and it wasn't going to be able to be treated or managed. And I offered my help, say, is there something I could do? Could I file papers? I just wanted to get inside so I can learn more about what was ailing me, and I was able to do that, you know. And I met some people, which they had a lifestyle and development team here, which my case manager so graciously referred me to. And after that, things just started to, it's like I found my purpose in life. After the most difficult period in my life, I found a silver lining. I was a volunteer at South Bay for 2 years. And in that process, through that process, I put in from 1,500 to 1,800 hours a year, and I was awarded the 2007 Volunteer of the Year Award for the Department of Mental Health in Los Angeles County. And I received that with it was a great honor for me and a privilege, because it proved to me at that point that people do recognize you if you give it all you got. But in that process of being a volunteer, I was introduced to the Pro-Recovery Circle, which is a self-help group, and that was the launching pad. It was like a catapult into a different level of recovery.
Gary's progression started when we started training him for the Recovery Circle. And the Recovery Circle deals with hope, giving clients hope for the future, starting them where they are now and letting them know they can move forward into their lives.
That no matter where you're at, where your place is in treatment, that you can just start anywhere. You don't have to be, as they label people, with levels or nothing like that. You can actually start anywhere to get better. And that's what stimulated my thought.
What's different about Gary is he's dedicated. He's very passionate about helping the clients here. And he's very committed and he's invested. He really wants to see others get well like he did.
I started to get into topics such as dissolving stigma, which I'm a big proponent for, helping people to understand self-stigma. And I think that's one of the biggest things in moving forward, is understanding the self-stigma that's been ingrained in us from the social stigma. I started finding out that helping others was therapeutic for me. And it helped me progress along the way, and I figured I could share this experience with someone else. And so the department started to have ideas about hiring people with illnesses that they know who had illnesses, but had become who wanted to be able to be productive in society. And a position opened up, and I went to a training for it. I went to peer advocacy training. I put my time in. I went to all the DMH trainings and all of the help classes that they had. I just enthroned myself into it, and I started to feel like I was able to make a difference, not only for myself but my family and also for the people around me. And I continue to have that feeling.
He paved the way for me. This position as a peer advocate wasn't heard of before. I hadn't heard of it before. And he greets people in the lobby. How are you? I'm Gary. You know, I work here. He's the first one to say, I used to get services here. You know, what can we do to help you? Are you getting the services you need? Yeah, I would say he created this position, and along with him, he took me, he took others. He's making peer advocates wherever he goes. You know, he should give a peer advocate class, because, and if you look up the word peer advocate, it would be Gary, a person who's there in need.
I maintain my recovery by treating my recovery as a business. I treat it like that's the number one thing that's the most important to me.
I'm telling you, he's the #1 peer advocate. On his days off, he will come and help a person. And I just so admire that, you know. I wonder what all that strength, where all that comes from. And it comes from him taking his mental health as a business. It's serious to him. It's not a game.
Gary changed gradually as he became more stronger, more confident in what he was doing after he was trained. And as he started helping other clients and advocating for him, he became a monster.
And we all decided a couple of weeks ago that we can't change people, but we can influence the change around us, right? Okay. My biggest part of my job is engagement. And so that brings me into self-help groups. I'm a facilitator of 4 self-help groups a week, and they're very powerful. So I encourage self-help, and I try to motivate people to attend self-help groups so they can get involved and become proactive and feel like they're part of being better and of the community. And I think it's vital that we work within our community, that we develop relationships and not know people just by phone numbers, but I know people in the community. I call people by names. If I go in certain areas of my community, I'm called by my name. And I guess it goes like that little show that used to be on TV, you know, I think the greatest sound anyone can hear is their name. And that's what community gives to me. My spirituality is the basis for everything that I am. And I'm very grateful. And I feel like I finally found my purpose through my spirituality. Excellence is doing a common thing in an uncommon way. And I feel that peer advocacy accompanied by transformation and wellness is that uncommon way.